Greetings, I am Tom Earl. On this week's episode, live from South Africa, I interview the brilliant and amazing Shelby Birch. Check it out.
So Bella, Sani Bonani.
Greetings, I am Tom Earl, and this is my year of grace. We know you could be anywhere, so the fact that you are here today sharing your greatest gifts, your time, and your energy means the world to me. We have an amazing guest. She is coming to us live, well, live in my world, not live in yours. She's coming to us all the way from South Africa. She goes by the name of Shelby Birch. How's it going, Shelby?
Hi. It's going great. How are you, Tom?
Oh man, I'm so excited that we're making this happen. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, after one failed attempt, I'm happy to get back in it. So thank you for having me and being so flexible.
To me, it's failed is when I schedule something with somebody and I message them. They're like, "Oh, oops." Whereas you actually showed up. It's just internet wasn't good on your side at that time. So that's not failed. We're calling that all good.
Yeah, thank you. I try to keep my word. So yeah, no, I'm happy to be here for a second time. So yeah.
Appreciate that. Yeah, we interviewed Shelby, tomreal.com/Shelby, just as you were finishing up your city year service and kind of getting mentally ready to go to Peace Corp, right?
Yeah. So I'm actually, I actually forgot when exactly the interview was happening, maybe around February-ish. So yeah, a couple months before I was coming to Peace Corps, and I was like really in the thick of AmeriCorps. And now I am in the thick of Peace Corps. I am over halfway done with my Peace Corps service.
Wow.
And it's been the craziest ride of my life, actually. Craziest ride. Yeah. So almost committing 3 years of just like perpetual service it's been such an eye-opening experience. So yeah, it's like full circle a little bit. Yeah.
Well, for those who didn't catch the interview, let's give them the 2-3 minute catch up so they can catch up to where we are. You're from Florida, Orlando, right?
Yeah. Orlando. Hey. So born and raised in Orlando. I am an alumna of the University of Central Florida. And right after graduating, I served in AmeriCorps in City Year, Washington, D.C. I served in a 5th grade English language arts classroom, and that was such a great experience. Around that time, I also published my first book called Lit, a spoken word anthology of identity and love. And I'm currently a Peace Corps volunteer in South Africa. And I am a primary school English teacher for grades 6 and 7. And that has been, that is honestly my life right now, just being a Peace Corps volunteer. And also around the time that you interviewed me a little over a year ago, I was mainly talking about the takeaways that I've gotten from service. A lot of resilience, learning about resilience and myself and self-caring. And when I say that has multiplied like tenfold, like honestly, the things that I was doing in AmeriCorps have totally changed. And I'm sure we'll get into that throughout the interview, but I feel different in a really great way. So yeah, that's me.
What do you think has been that internal motivation to, you're a brilliant person, like all AmeriCorps people. And, instead of saying, let me cash in on this brilliance and, get a good paycheck and climb that ladder. And instead, people don't know, but City Year is rewarding but grueling. Like they're doing exercises by 6:30 a.m. and you're working in the classroom from 7 a.m. until sometimes 8 p.m. And I don't know if you heard that with 5th graders. you know, and
I did the classroom, and then we had to do after school. So I would be at school around 7:30, and I would be leaving around 5:30 or 5:45. So yeah, those hours were grueling and long. Worth it now. Now in hindsight, it was a real struggle, but it honestly prepared me for Peace Corps. Just to have like the endurance to keep going and to mentally reset, and uh, attack it the next day. So yeah,
mm, but
AmeriCorps is no joke. AmeriCorps is no joke. But to all my AmeriCorps alum, like, we in there. Thank you for your service. Hey, all that.
yeah, that's how I got started. I was in AmeriCorps Vista. And so I'm not gonna ask you, but I'll tell people when I did AmeriCorps, we got paid $10,000 a year. So
Mm,
I'm sure yours was around the same, give or take, which city you lived in. So just so
mhm.
folks heard that, like almost a 12-hour day, and AmeriCorps Vista's motto is 365, 24/7 for $10,000 a year. So that's what I'm saying. What was that internal motivation that drove you to serve, with really all that sacrifice and the
Yeah.
grit? What motivated you to do that and still continue to?
Right, definitely. So to put that in context for where I was serving, I served in Washington, D.C. That is one of the most expensive places to live in the U.S. And I was making less than $1,000 a month. I made it work though. But yeah, so just to put that in context, what motivated me? It was the kids. It was honestly the kids. It was um, just knowing that I'm doing something for someone else, that all of this is bigger than me, and also that it was preparing me for something bigger. If you can do AmeriCorps, you can do anything, because it takes a lot of grit. It takes a lot of patience. It takes a lot of endurance. It takes a lot of flexibility and adaptability. Um, so I felt that all of these experiences it was going to amount to something. So that was my biggest thing, and forming personal bonds with a community, like with an actual community. That um, that meant a lot, and that kept me going. And also, I had the best just city or core. Like, I made so many friends that I'm still friends with to this day. Still keep in contact with people in my core. We had maybe plus or minus 150 people, and I also lived with my roommates. We all were serving, so we all just motivated each other to keep going. So, I mean, there was a lot of intrinsic motivation. There was a lot of extrinsic motivation, knowing that it would look great on my resume, but also knowing that it was pushing me to be a better person and preparing me for the next step in life, which was Peace Corps. So I will say that I could not have done Peace Corps without doing AmeriCorps, period. So I'm very grateful for my experience.
So now we're kind of caught up. And for folks who want that deeper dive of that part of Shelby's life, once again, tomrell.com/Shelby. So what's going on now? What is Peace Corps like? What's South Africa like? What's life like about to turn 25? By the time this comes out, you'll have turned 25. You got a lot going on.
Yeah, so many things. So many things. So again, I'm a Peace Corps volunteer in South Africa, and I am a teacher at a primary school. So I teach English to grade 6 and 7. And my role is not just teaching English. I work with community and school development too. So just providing resources for the school and community, whether it's books for a library or just whatever the school needs. And yeah, so my main role is to teach English, but it's also what I want it to be. So I have been fortunate to have done many secondary projects. My pride and joy has been my girls club. It's a female empowerment group where we talk about HIV and AIDS, wellness, leadership, health, and that has been the highlight of my service. I also work with other Peace Corps volunteers. I'm a part of the diversity committee for Peace Corps. So I support other PCVs in the realm of diversity and inclusion and identity and multicultural development, which is awesome. So yeah, I'm just out here. I'm just out here. I'm just trying to make a difference where I can. So yeah, and I'm turning 25, as you alluded to that, and I came into Peace Corps at 23. So I turned 24, and now I'm going to experience my second birthday here, and I am leaning into it. I am so excited. I feel, when you turn 25, you go through your quarter life crisis. Like I don't think I'm experiencing that now, but I mean, like we'll see when I turn 25. But I'm like so excited for it, especially to turn 25 in South Africa. Like this is a beautiful country. It's a very, very, very beautiful country, and I've learned a lot. So yeah, like that's just my life right now. So.
What's that like celebrating? We just came through Christmas and now your birthday, those kind of things. I might just be projecting my own emotions. I'd imagine that might be kind of hard being out there away from friends and family. And what's that like, serving in another country in general, the day to day, but also when those big holidays come up?
Yeah. So, fun fact, I had never been out of the country before Peace Corps, which is not common. That is very not common. So in my cohort of 40, only 3 of us, I want to say about 3 of us had never left the country at all. So to kind of have my first introduction to like the world through Peace Corps has been such a whirlwind. So being away from my family for this long of a time, it was really tough. They say that Peace Corps is the toughest job that you will ever love. And I completely resonate with that statement. So homesickness is one of the things that I've had to adjust to. So last year, it was kind of tough because I just never been away from home. But now I've been here for 17 months now, so over a year, and I feel a lot more better. I know how to cope. I spent Christmas with amazing Peace Corps volunteers on a farm in the country, like in the mountains, and it was absolutely beautiful. I've never seen anything so wonderful, and it was such a like you learn how to make your own family with the people that you're around. And I also have an amazing host family back home in my village, and I feel so part of my community. So getting through the holidays hasn't, this time around, I'm coping a lot better. I know who to reach out to. Sometimes I stay off of social media because that can be triggering. But no, things are okay. But just make sure that you check up on people that are abroad. I think that is something that people don't remember. People just kind of have this perception, oh, like they're abroad, like they're having a great time, living their best life. But I mean, you never know what people are battling. So reach out to your friends if they're abroad, or just reach out to your friends in general, because that's just what friends do. Yeah, I'm coping, and I'm good.
So I know that you already touched on it, but what are some things that you're reflecting upon as you approach 25?
I'm actually very proud of myself. Very, very proud of the things that I have done and the things that I'm going to do. And when I say the things that I've done, not necessarily like the quantifiable accomplishments, not that, mainly the intangibles, I want to say. You know, my mental health has been a priority, and it wasn't before. But trying to work through that and battling depression and anxiety, I overcame that. And not to say that it's nothing that I still don't experience, but when I was at my lowest, I, with the help of people, with the help of my village, and not just like my actual village and Peace Corp, but like my village of support, my friends, my family, with the help of them, I got through it. I got through some of the hardest times, and like I'm still here. I have a story to tell, I feel. And I'm proud of the things that I was just able to do. The day after Christmas, I jumped off a 25-foot cliff into the water, and I'm not a strong swimmer. And I have a deep fear of falling, and I have a deep fear, like an actual phobia of drowning. So I'm constantly proving myself wrong, in the sense of like, oh, I can't do this. And like, no, I actually can do it. My biggest accomplishment, or just personal accomplishment, was hiking Table Mountain. And if you don't know how big of a mountain that is, or it, like, just Google it. I had never gone hiking before in my life, and the first hike that I do is Table Mountain. It's like doing Stairmaster for 3 hours. Like and there's nothing to hold you down. So if you fall, you fall. You know what I mean? And I cried the entire way up, but I made it to the top. I did it. So what I'm reflecting on, I'm leaning in to 25. Like, I feel that if I can survive out here alone, you know what I mean, and still find joy and meaning, and can be resilient, then there's no telling what I can do. And I feel like I'm actually believing that. People would tell me, "Oh, Shelby, like you're a strong person, you're inspiring." But I honestly, like, I didn't believe it. But I really had to go through some things, like go through the storm, really, really, really go through the storm. Like, I understand what lonely feels like. I understand what struggle is. I understand what it feels like to feel like you're not going anywhere, that you're just stuck, that you're just alone. I know what it feels like, but I know what it feels like to get on the other side of that. And for anyone out there that just feels that they're stuck and that they can't do anything in the world, or that they're not where they want to be, like, honestly, like, just wait on it. Have patience, have faith in yourself, or if you believe in a higher being, just have faith and trust the journey. And it's super cliche, but that has been my mantra. Hike your own hike. Don't worry about what other people are doing. And once I really started focusing on myself, believing in myself, and just having faith, like, just, man, things gotten better. Things have gotten better. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking about at 25, and I'm happy about it. So yeah.
Wow. I had these goosebumps in reverse deja vu, where I imagined 10, 15 years from now, when you are this name everybody knows, whatever it is, whatever that magic in the world you've created, whatever it is.
If I get there, we'll see.
No, I have no doubt. And people are going to come back, and somebody who's like just scouring the internet for Shelby inspiration is going to find that little passage you just said. And people are going to be like, oh my God, if Shelby at one point doubted herself, and now she's president or whatever you're going to be, like, you can do it too. Like, reverse deja vu.
Yeah, like everyone can do this. Like, I always say that I'm no one special. Like, yeah, I know I'm special, right? I know that I'm special, but like, I'm regular, like, just like everyone else. And not to say, like, if I can do it, you can do it. Like, I hate when people say that, but it's like, we are all people at the end of the day. You know what I mean? And we all have our struggles. People that you think that are balling or on top of the world. You know what I mean? they have their own demons, and struggle is a real thing. So no one is exempt from it. I do have to say that I read Michelle Obama's book, and that was amazing. Like it honestly like changed my life. It was so inspirational and so inspired. But even reading her story, and she's just so down to earth, but she said it herself, you know what I mean? Like there are a million of us, you know what I mean? Like we just have to like give ourselves the opportunity. We have to believe in ourselves. But even Michelle Obama, am I good enough? Am I good enough? Like Michelle Obama, the first Black first lady of the of the United States, like doubted herself. She could doubt herself. I sure can, but just to see the heights that she reached and what she accomplished, is just like, I can do that too. And other people can do that too. So definitely, I'm no different from anybody.
I just finished that when I was on the plane ride home from my wedding. So I was in that mindset, where these heroes and sheroes we have, when you look at pockets of their life and see like, you doubted yourself and this and that I know that what you're going through now, when people look to you like, or anybody out there, oh, they never went through that all that you were just saying, it was so empowering and inspiring. I really appreciate you sharing that with us.
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
How has your expression been influenced while being in South Africa in terms of writing, fashion, communication, creativity, any of that? How has, expression, how has that journey been?
Right. So I have integrated into the South African culture, like definitely integrated. This top that I'm wearing, my neighbor actually made this for me. So hit up Mama Folo, that's my neighbor. I've definitely have adopted the South African like lingo and vernacular. So that's just kind of like that's like a side note. But as far as like expression and communicating and writing, I've been very reflective out here. So I haven't been writing too much poetry, or haven't been writing creatively as much as I have been just journaling and reflecting. And there's so much to unpack. Oh my goodness, there's so much to unpack. I find myself in conversation with other Peace Corps volunteers, returned Peace Corps volunteers, just trying to understand my social location within the world. My identity has definitely shifted. I feel I'm so much more conscious of what I look like, how I present to the world, how I identify as myself, and how others may see me. But I feel so much more freer. I'm doing things that I want to do that makes me happy. And I feel like because I have that awareness of who I am and what I want to do and how I want to express myself, I feel like I just kind of don't really care like what anyone else is thinking. Is you know what I mean? Like how I express myself is I feel like I'm becoming who I've always wanted to be. So what I've always wanted to look like. So my pride and joy is like my dreads. I love my locks so much. I love my locks so much, and they've grown so much. I've gotten some tattoos while I've been out here. I got some piercings while I've been out here. And I don't think that I would have been brave enough to do that back in the States, because I felt like I just kind of had to be confined in this box, and I have to look and dress and act a certain way, like try to follow respectability politics. But the more that like I read and understand myself and understand like Black feminist thought, and just everything in general, and all the information that I'm taking in, like I just am finding myself. So the way I express myself is, I feel a lot more freer than than I was back in the States. I guess like physically, like and personal style wise. So did I answer that?
You nailed it. More.
Okay, cool.
I know we're all just like, oh yes, all this inspiration. One of my favorite books, Name of the Wind. I'm going to butcher the quote, but they say basically, if you want to know who you really are, go to a town where no one knows you.
Oh my goodness, that is this is gonna be so cliche again, but I just feel like I'm really finding myself out here. You so I wrote a poem about this, and I felt like I had to be isolated to find God, to find myself. And in that isolation, I found so much comfort in my company and in God's company, and realizing that I'm a pretty dope person. Like I enjoy my own company. Like I went to the movies yesterday alone. Like I eat alone. Like I do a lot of things alone. Like just being like a Peace Corp volunteer in general. But in that, I've just found so much comfort in like who I am, and you know, yeah, I don't have to hang out with a whole bunch of people. I'm cool with hanging out with myself. Probably after this, I'm gonna like watch House of Cards by myself and do my hair. Like definitely so much more introverted, but like I like it. But yeah, that's to get back to your quote. Yeah, like go somewhere where nobody knows your name, and you'll see who you really are.
The last season of House of Cards is dope.
Don't tell me about it, because I don't have it yet. And I'm just trying to wait on it. I should be getting it soon. So I'm gonna like rewatch all the other seasons so I'm caught up for the last one. I heard it was amazing. I heard it was amazing.
I love
I'm a
it.
House of Cards fan. House of Cards fan. Be here.
I know you had a poem that you wanted to share with us. Are you still feeling inspired to do so?
Yeah, definitely. So again, like I haven't written too much poetry out here, but and just by the way, I have been doing poetry for over a decade, and I started in slam poetry, and so just competing in competitions like around the United States, and I find myself now just writing pieces for me, and I don't necessarily have the urge to like present a poem like to a crowd of people. I love being like an audience member. I like being a listener. So a lot of my poems now are just so much more introspective and very, very personal. Not to say that my poetry wasn't before, but it's definitely meant for me. So I wrote this poem. It's called Isolation. And as I said before, I really had to be isolated to find myself, and to find God. And I really have been building on my spiritual life out here, and it's been wonderful. So if you don't mind, I'm going to go ahead and share that piece for you, if that's okay. Awesome. God had to isolate me to find him, to take me away from the things I thought mattered, and position me in the proximity of purpose. Now, some may say, yo, isn't that kind of cruel? To strip you from clothes of comfort and leave you in the nakedness of loneliness, to then model it down a catwalk that nobody came to see. Yet you see your insecurities billboarded on the walls of your rooms, campaigns of pain cradled in each corner. Can't look at yourself plastered everywhere for only you to see, knowing that there's no place to take cover. Girl, covered in transgressions and quilted like grandma's secrets in patchwork. Each tessellation tattletaling on the temptations you touched and tickled at times. It's loud in silent spaces when he submerged you in solitude. Your thoughts submarined in the sunken place turned echo chamber, bouncing off walls and head, smashing like cymbals against cranium and crown, only to boomerang back into your bed because now it's hard to get up because you've come down too hard on yourself, remembering guilt instead of grace, mistakes instead of mercy, pain instead of patience at times. Our relationship to God can feel like mumble rap, like not quite understanding what is being said, but you fake like you get it, only to bob along to words that make no sense. It makes no sense to live our life this way. Scared that Christianity is too black and white, so we settle to live our life in the gray, like wondering if the bill, like wondering if that job was the right move, wondering if moving was the right move, wondering if you started the right business or if you're hanging with the right crew, questioning a quest down a yellow brick road that leads to odds at myself, but too busy skipping because I'm concerned with people scrolling and liking, get caught up in the juking and jiving of inviting people on a journey that I have no idea where I'm going, but I keep sowing my seeds in barren great fields when our God has positioned my harvest to sprout in soils that would make coloring books yield and feel some type of way. God had to isolate me to get my attention. How I didn't even know I was lost or in search. How he had to Gilligan me on this island and take me completely off earth. Just wanted me to be still in his goodness and recognize his patience. How he had something to tell me that he's been trying to tell me for 24 years and has finally and have been patiently waiting. And now he's got me right where he wants me. He wanted to tell me that he loves me, that I would no longer feel alone, that I could live life in magenta, periwinkle, and fuchsia, that my insecurities have turned testimonies that grace the covers of magazines, that he's the dopest, clearest lyric on the tightest Migos beat, that God had to isolate me so I could find him, to take me closer to his kingdom and position me in the proximity of purpose. Now, some may say, yo, isn't that kind of cruel? And I say, nah, I think it's pretty cool.
Woo!
Yeah.
Man, that's the kind of one you want printed out and explore,
Yeah, man. I don't know. It was super personal, super personal.
I'd imagine. I mean, what's more personal than our relationship with our creator?
Yeah.
And you're
definitely
talking about it in such intimate and vulnerable ways, Appreciate that so much for not only that, but this whole interview, really being authentic and letting us know where you're at. Appreciate it.
Yeah. And like for my friends and family back home, I will say that it was tough in the beginning. The first year was very, very difficult. But now I'm in a much better place. Still struggling, still I'm not just great. I don't have any worries. I definitely still have my struggles, but I'm in a much better place, and I'm really looking forward to what life has in store. So I'm good. I found joy. I have joy.
2 more questions for you. You might have heard me say this is my year of grace. And whatever my year is, I always like to have a conversation with people about it. So for you, what is grace?
Man. Grace is, according to Pastor Todd from Transformation Church, that series was amazing, but it's the unmerited, it's undeserving reward. That's the best way to put it. Anything that is given to you, it's unmerited. It's not that you deserve it. It's just given to you out of grace, or out of love, because of who you are. And I have a very intimate relationship with grace because I have to give that to my students on a daily basis. So, it's just kind of like a free pass. Which is beautiful, which is nice, because we don't deserve it. We don't deserve it, but it's given to us anyway. That's like,
no wrong or right way, my friend. That was beautiful. Where can folks reach out to you to tell you how much they appreciated listening, hearing, and to stay up to date with you?
Yeah, I love hearing from people. So message me on Instagram, okay? Follow me at Shelby Birch. My my first name, last name. My last name is spelled Birch. So yeah, Shelby Birch. Add me on Facebook. Send me a message on Messenger. You can email me, I guess. WhatsApp me. But you have to message me so I can give you my number. I'm not just gonna post that out there. But yeah, those are my platforms that I use all the time. So Facebook, Instagram, and if we get to talking, WhatsApp.
Dope. And for those on the go who couldn't write all that down, tomearl.com/ShelbyB, SHELBYB for show notes, since Shelby is already our previous interview. This has been so awesome. You can see we're in different time zones. The sunlight's been getting brighter here as yours has been going down.
Yeah, it's getting darker. It's at least, it's 6 o'clock. It's 6 p.m. over here.
And it's 8 a.m. over here.
Yeah. Yeah, so hopefully it doesn't get dark. But yeah, I think that's like a 10-hour difference.
Yes, 10 hours. So really appreciate you taking the time out of your holiday to share with us and create and express. Really, it means so much to me. And I hope for any of your family or friends listening that this was able to be, a way to capture what's going on and share it with those back home for you. So I hope it serves that in some way.
Yeah, I miss everyone, dearly. I think about everyone every single day. So if you've been wanting to reach out to me and just haven't had any sign, this is your sign. I'm happy to hear from you.
I got to say to those folks, I have one friend who was in the Peace Corps and she listens to the podcast. So what's up? You know who you are. And and I had sent her, I waited the whole time she was there and finally sent her something in the mail. But I sent it so late in the game that they had to re-forward it back to her house in Florida because she had already left.
Oh, she COS'd. Oh, shame.
But she always talks about, the people who sent her stuff and the friends who she was surprised stayed in touch with and didn't. So if you have any inclination, just send a postcard. Just send something to Shelby. You have no idea how much it means when I hear my friends who come back in the Peace Corps that it really goes a long way. And as Shelby becomes president or whatever it is, I'm not saying do it for selfish reasons, but someone you want to know.
No. No. Well, maybe. I don't know. I plan to study public policy after. So, I'm probably studying policy after. So, politics, I don't know.
President of something.
Sure. Let's do that. President of something. I'll take that.
So my last question for you is, what is your invitation to folks listening? Your invitation to be, to think, to consider, to do? What is your invitation?
Oh, that's such a great question. Wow. Thanks for asking. I invite you all to lean in to 2019, to explore yourself, I invite you to listen, to be mindful, to recognize the humanity of others, and to most importantly, be gentle on yourself. Give yourself grace. You deserve it.
Well said. Thank you once again, Shelby. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks, Tom.
My pleasure. And to all those listening and watching, as always, we're wishing you peace and blessings. Thank you. One more thing. I'd love to continue the conversation. Feel free to join me at tomearl.com/join. Subscribe below, or let's connect on social media. Tom Earl Artist. Thanks again for watching.